Hello, I'm Mr. Space Marine, and for the moment, I'm checking the audio. It was apparent to me that in my previous video, the previous live stream, that it was difficult to hear me due to the atmospheric settings that I had. Clearly now, things are much, much quieter, and you should be able to hear me much clearer. One problem that I'm having, though, is that the thumbnail image is not the one that I wanted to have. Oh well, I guess that's just the way that the egg breaks. So anyway, this is my new show that I'm going to be doing called Ask Mr. Space Marine Anything. It seems fairly straightforward. You ask me questions in the comment section, and then I answer them in the live stream. So this will be somewhat of a participatory event. For it to work well, I will need you, the audience, to participate. That's what we mean by participatory. I didn't mean to mispronounce that, but it doesn't matter. Let's start sending the links, shall we? Need my power gloves. You're going to have to bear with me on this first part, because this is pretty much just testing the audio and making sure that everything is working smoothly, so that way the show will run smoothly. I guess I really didn't have another synonym for that, or... Regardless, we'll just go on with the show. The show must go on. I will be sending links to the live stream to Ask Mr. Space Marine Anything into various Warhammer 40,000 groups on the website. Facebook. I'm sorry. Space Marines use Facebook. I have just now shared the first link into a fan site for Games Workshop. That would be a Warhammer group, which I often participate in. I am hoping for your participation now here, for me, and for yourself. Otherwise, this is going to be kind of dull. I'll be answering my own questions. Wait, what would I ask myself? I guess that's the first question. What would I ask myself? Well, Mr. Space Marine, I don't know what to ask myself. That's a very strange thing to do, to ask yourself questions. But then again, one must know themselves and ask questions inside to know whom they are. I am now going to be sharing another link into one of my favorites, the Obscurus Crusade. Without their help, this show would not be possible. one thing I will ask myself is, when will I get out of this monkey suit? I am really missing my power armor. With that power armor, I did take down many enemies of the Imperium, many Xenos foes, heretics and traitors alike. I would dispatch them with my war gear. I appear to have misplaced my bolt pistols. Remember, folks, honor your war gear. I have now shared another link into Warhammer 40K / the Horus Heresy, another popular group on Facebook. I must keep correcting myself. You're not Space Marines, like myself. After a few people have joined and begun commenting in the thread, I will begin to answer the questions. They can be any question you like. It would not have to be about myself. How many genders are there in space? Well, in space, no one can hear you scream. And in space, no one cares how many genders there are. There's 8. I don't know. There's 8. I'll just make up an arbitrary number. There are 8 genders in space. There is male, female, free male, not so free male, freemium male. That's 5. That's the 6th one. The 6th one is called That's 5. The 7th one is called That's the 6th one. The 6th one is called That's 5. And the 8th one is, well, that one's just kind of a mystery. No one's really answered that question yet. It's somewhat controversial of what the 8th gender in space is. But if I were to put a guess on it, I would say that it's possibly, I don't know where it is. Genders in space. Genders in space? Space doesn't have time for genders. Nor do Space Marines. But remember, Space Marines can only be male. Only men can be Space Marines. Even though we don't care about your gender. Anyway. I am now going to share into the cosplayers of Winnipeg. That would be where the normal host of this show would be located, if I hadn't dispatched him. He's somewhere around. Once I have shared the link to the live stream in an appropriate amount of areas, and have enough participants to be able to ask questions, I will continue on with the show, and ask all of your, well, I won't ask your questions, I will answer them, but I will read them out loud in the feed. And now to send a link to a few key individuals. I will send one now to you. You get a link. And you get a link. And you get a link. Everyone gets a link. And so the goal of this show will be, I, Mr. Space Marine, the host of the Mr. Space Marine show, will answer your questions, any and all questions. It could be any question. It could be related to myself, Warhammer 40,000, or even questions about real life. At this point in the show, we are still setting up. I am sending out the links, and I am hoping that the audio is clear enough to be able to be heard. I will test the audio in a moment to be able to check to see if it is up to the quality that we needed for the show. That water dripping is going to be really, really annoying. Stop. I demand it. I command it. Okay, whatever. I'll just give up on the water drops. At the moment, if there is anyone in the feed who is watching and is listening, if they can confirm that the audio is loud enough and clear enough, with possibly a in-the-pipe 5x5, that would be appreciated. The video is not working. The video is not working? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm fairly certain that the video is running, and it is up. Well, you are approval. And that wasn't a question. Confirming that it only shows a tick. Well, that would be very odd. Let's examine that on my device. going to YouTube on my phone, my Auspex phone. And now we will check the feed. It appears in the feed the video is working. So I would suggest that whatever the problem is, it is most likely on your end of the device. And now to check the audio. It appears that both the audio and video are working. Live streamception. And now to check the audio. It appears that both the audio and video are working. It's like a little me. Now this is getting weird. Live. Maybe my internet connection is not that great. But it's time to put the gloves on. And these aren't kitty gloves. One might say that the gloves are off. But now the gloves are on. And I am here to answer your questions. I didn't turn the volume off. I guess the gloves are off, because I'll have to take them off to be able to adjust this. Now this is getting weird. What I will do, if you are still able to see me, is I will momentarily correct the internet connection. The live stream will become paused momentarily, but do not move away. Don't touch that dial. Keep your hand away from the remote. And maybe light a cigarette, because we'll be right back. We'll do this together. The router will be reset. Now. Hello, and we have returned. The internet connection has been restored and has been improved to a higher quality. So far in the show, we have been asked the very important question. How many genders are there in space? My previous answer was 8. The real answer is I don't give a damn. how many genders there are, or how many genders you identify as. For as a Space Marine, I only have one duty: to protect humanity from bitches like you. Excuse my language. For a moment I became a small Japanese girl. Oh, gomenne. It appears that the feed is back up. Remember, for this show to work, I will need your questions for me to respond to. This will be an interactive show. Ask Mr. Space Marine anything. Anything. What would you like to know? For I, Mr. Space Marine, have all the answers. Mr. Space Marine always knows right. The previous show had auditory problems due to the air conditioning atmospheric sensors, and the noise was disruptive. It comes from this side, and the mic is inside the helmet, but yet the noise was still loud enough to be able to disrupt my voice from being picked up from within inside and directly placed against the microphone. That's impressive. Most impressive. But you are not a Space Marine yet. You must go through the trials if you wish to become a battle brother like I. If any of you are wondering about my helmet, it is a Corvus Mark VI Space Marine helmet, also known colloquially as a Beaky or a Womble, because the Wimble's in Wombleton. You know what I'm talking about. The Wombles. I await your questions, Internet, Warhammer fans, cosplayers. I am here to answer your questions. It appears that we have some. A story of my childhood. This will be an adventure. Long, long ago, I was once a young boy. I was found by the Emperor, and he had chosen me to become a Space Marine. In my youth, I would travel across the land, searching far and wide, and killing things. That's why I was chosen. The Emperor was like, hey you totally kill things. And I was like, I totally do. And he was like, here, join my cause. And I was like, yeah. So then he locked me up underground, under his temple, and then mind-conditioned me into becoming a space marine, forgetting most of my life prior to that, actually. It's kind of hazy. Kind of comes back here and there, vague images, sounds, smells, but none of it consistent. None of it lasting. Since my induction into the Space Marines, it has become my new life. My new childhood. Growing up as a Space Marine, I had to face many adversities. Such as the Siege of Volstrom. That was where I had achieved my martial status. Battling orcs on a Mechanicus world, doomed to exterminatus. I and my brothers entered into the Mechanicus city. Our sergeant was lost. Many of my brothers had fallen. Between orcs, knobs, and a mighty war boss, our mission was an uphill struggle. Eventually, we had found the artifact that the orcs were after, only to discover its ancient Necron origins and the true danger of the Mechanicum world that we were on. Several hundred years later, I would be called again to another significant battle. I was brought to the hive streets of Necromunda Spire. Two combat squads were sent into the hive city to hunt down and find a monster which was killing its inhabitants. When we had found that monster, we had discovered that it was a demon, a bloodthirster of Khorne. Most of my squad was annihilated by the beast, but I and one of my battle brothers managed to hold it long enough until our chief librarian, Leonidas, had shown up to dispatch the demon back into the warp. At that time, I was then treated to the company of our Primarch, Aero the Whirlwind. We fight for the Emperor, through Aero we serve. Ave Imperator. Ave the Whirlwind. Ave Aero. Beyond that, I was stationed onto the hive city of Necromunda to watch and wait to see if more demon outbreaks would occur. For over a century, I would watch the streets of Necromunda. I would silence the gang warfare through whatever means necessary. And now I'm here, I suppose. I guess this is my new gig. I kind of got out of that place, and I was moving on up to the east side. And here I am, doing this show for you, replacing previous hosts that no one really liked anyway. I mean, anyway, come on, I'm way cooler. I'm also destroying everything in my way. That is what a Space Marine does. In this battle cabinet, I have warriors that have fought for the Emperor, have shed their blood, have lost their lives. This would be the battle cabinet. In particular, I find this one comes a little bit close to home. Don't you think? Well, that was a way to fall onto the couch. I would call that deep striking. I'm Mr. Space Marine. And this is my model. With this model, I have dispatched many foes of the Emperor. And come on. It's like so cute. Look at this. I mean, did I say cute? No. No, it's not cute. It is totally badass. Pew. Pew. Yeah. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, in time. See what I did there? Was a Space Marine chapter called the Bloodhounds. The Bloodhounds were created by the Emperor after the Primarchs had been lost, scattered by the warp. Using the collective genetic profiles of his 20 Primarchs, he combined them and created us, the Bloodhounds. We are the heirs and lineage to all of the Primarchs. There is no one whom we have allegiance to. the Emperor planned to use us, his watchdogs, his bloodhounds, to keep check on the Space Marine legions and which he was developing. Having discovered his lost Primarchs on a great crusade, the Bloodhound Project was forgotten, left to continue underground, continuing through the Battle of Terra during the infamous Horus Heresy. We slept dormant, training in stasis. Having awoken at the peak of the battle, our legion entered into the fray. We appear to have another question. I believe that my cat is here. And not Mike Hat from Ghostbusters. No. That's not even funny. But let's appear if we can see to find her. Where is Dozer? I appear to have found her. I have. It seems that Dozer has dozed off. Are you asleep, Dozer, or awake? Dozer the Power Cat. Your fans await you. You are now live on the internet. I don't think she knows what to do. Dozer the Power Cat. She was named after the blades of the rhino that I had rode in. With those Dozer blades, we managed to push through the muddy surfaces of the battlefields in which we had conquered. Those Dozer blades were incremental, instrumental, and totally mental in regard to our victory. Without those Dozer blades, I would not be here today. Thus, Dozer the cat. Which may seem somewhat contradictory, as us Bloodhound Space Marines generally have Telratian bloodhounds, ones that we had rescued from planet Telrak. After our exodus from Terra, we had found our own home, planet Telrak. It was a desert world, with what we thought was no life. The planet was attacked by a space-dwelling worm creature, which began to eat the planet from the inside. As the planet began to collapse, we realized that the planet was hollow, and underneath, a plethora of life existed. Flora, and fauna. The Telratian bloodhounds were the first to escape, rushing immediately into our battle barges, Thunderhawk gunships, and other space-bearing cruisers. Since then, they have become like our brothers. Since then, we treat them as if they are our own. But I guess I have a cat. I don't know how that happened. I really don't know how that happened. I guess I have a cat. But normally we have bloodhounds. We have dogs. It appears that Poohies is back. I am not sure where Poohies had gone, or what a Poohies even is. But yes, Dozer is a Terran cat. From Earth. In fact, from this century. This era of time. As I, a space marine, am from the 41st millennium. And I suppose it is the current year. That's the common thing people are saying nowadays. It's 2017. It appears that we have people sharing jokes, but inside jokes that no one else will get. That's acceptable, that's fine, I suppose. Hey, I see you too. I see you. On here, because that would be weird. If I could see you through the live stream, well, maybe I can. Maybe I can. Just maybe. Am I always dressed nicely like this? Absolutely. You must honor your war gear. If you do not, it will fail you in battle. The machine spirit of this power tie was sanctioned by the mechanic. This power suit power suit. Never underestimate the power of a good suit. You would like me to do a little dance. Would you also like me to make a little love and get down tonight? Boom, boom, get down tonight. Boom, boom. Because I can. I will. I have the ability. I have the power. They have rebuilt me. Well, I suppose that would be acceptable. But what kind of dance would I do? I've got it. In memory of a great hero, a legend among men, who will be known throughout history, I will do the Batusi. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Ave Imperator. For the Emperor. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Listen not to the heretic. See not the alien. You would like me to put on music? Am I setting the mood? Should I put on some candles? Dim the light, possibly? I mean, come on, you've not even bought me a drink yet. I'm all dressed up, I'm ready to go out on the town. Let's do this. But what kind of music? What would we listen to? How would we dance? I've got it. Unfortunately, to put on music, I will not be able to see the feed. So for the next X amount of time, your questions and comments will be unanswered, but you will have music and a dancing Space Marine. And can you really, really complain with that? Music, Space Marines, dancing, it's everything you wanted in life. That's right, baby. Everything you wanted in life. I believe I know the perfect song. I've got it. I will have to turn up the audio. I hope you are ready for this, Internet, because this is about to happen. Exterminatus. I appear to have ended the music. That's not what I intended to do. But either way, that was disturbing and probably scary for most of you. I promise I won't do that again. Wow. You know, for a Space Marine, you'd think that I'd be able to do that without getting tired. No. Not at all. So back to the feed. Let's see your comments. We'll get rid of the caramel dancing for now. Perhaps if we were to play another song during the video later on... We'll get rid of the caramel dancing for now. Perhaps if we were to play another song during the video later on... We'll get rid of the caramel dancing for now. Perhaps if we were to play another song during the video later on... Well, that's not good. I'm going to make sure I turn the audio off. So now Mr. Space Marine has danced. He has answered how many genders there are in space. He has featured Dozer in the show. He's speaking to himself in third person. That's getting kind of weird. But what happened to the comments? This is meant to be a comment show. There are comments on this comment show, right? Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? This is the third time that I've referenced Jeff Goldblum's line in Jurassic Park. That really was a good scene, wasn't it? And he really hated that man. Really did. It's kind of interesting how he died. But then they brought him back to life for the second movie, because Jeff Goldblum. Then I will control my breathing, using the powers trained upon me from my battle brothers and meditation tactics that I have learned from our chaplains. I will be able to control my breathing. Just no dancing for a while. Might need to take a little bit of a break before I do another dance. Or make a little love. Or get down tonight. Apparently I went through that whole thing again. I just walked myself into that, didn't I? That's fine. But today is Thursday. There was some sort of relevance to that, but I don't know what it was. Today is Thursday. It's not quite Donkey Sneakers, where Donkey Sneakers would say today is Friday, and I hope you have your shoes on. donkey sneakers. But no one really cares about the YTV The Zone band anyway. They really weren't even a band. It was just the hosts of The Zone making a CD. But no one really remembers The Zone, do they? No one remembers the good times. No one remembers Snit, the TV. A TV that would broke, gotten repaired, was covered in gum, and then had come into life. How did a TV covered in gum come? It's chaos. I have just discovered YTV's true nefarious history. They have a connection to the Chaos Gods, and they are trying to manipulate the Terran children against the Emperor. YTV must be destroyed. So which questions will be asked on this show that I, the host of this show, Mr. Space Marine, shall answer? If I don't answer them, Mini Mr. Space Marine will. Mini Mr. Space Marine is I guess he's... Mr. Space Marine's a model. But for the sake of the purposes of this, we'll just call him a clone. That is 1/32 my size. I'm Mr. Space Marine. I'm Mr. Space Marine. I've just decided that I'm not going to do that again. Instead, what does your voice sound like, Mini Space Marine? My voice sounds just like yours. For why would it be any different? Exactly. But now it is time to answer more questions. Apparently now I am being asked to read what I am being written to. That is now, this is our world now. This is my life. I think I'm the only one watching. Say what I write to you. I met this girl on POF. Period, 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 period. That sounds very messy. I believe that she would either need a pad, with or without wings, or maybe a tampon. This is not a tampon, that's my finger. Kinda looks like one, but it's not one. I met this girl on POF. I am not quite sure what POF is. POF! Exclamation mark. This isn't very riveting. I was hoping that it would go somewhere a little bit more entertaining. Apparently I am just now saying POF over and over again. I am POF Vader. I am POF Maul. POF Sidious. Or it's kind of like this story. 3 men die, and they end up in heaven. In front of them, they are given a choice by an angel to go back down to Earth. and relive their life. But in order to do so, they must give up the one thing in life that they enjoy most. The first man enjoyed food. The second man enjoyed money. And the third man enjoyed gay anal sex. Oh my. The three men go to Earth and agree to give up on their most cherished things in life. The first man thinks, you know what? I'll just go to hell. And he goes and buys a bite of pizza. I'm not quite sure why he bought a bite of pizza. He would probably be better off buying a slice, but he buys the bite and he eats it. And then, poof, he's gone. The two other men look to each other and go, could that really happen to us? The second man sees a $100 bill on the ground. He bends over to pick it up, and poof, they're both gone. As a space marine, I know no fear. So I will say very raunchy jokes without any persecution or repercussion. And I fear none of it, even if they were to happen. Plenty of fish. Plenty of fish. Apparently I am being asked to say plenty of fish. Where is this going? Is this going to actually develop into something? Am I supposed to say the whole thing as one string? Say what I write to you. I met this girl on POF, period, 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 period. POF, exclamation mark, plenty of fish. I will now return to the comments, for it seems that this story that I am being told to read is really, really boring, it seems. I'm being asked to say POF several times and talk about apparently biblical miracles. Oh no. They have returned. Another message has been asked, I believe. And we went on a walk. Telling this story is going to take a considerable long time, isn't it? Considering I'm having to wait for your messages, and they're coming every few minutes. And it's like a sentence-by-sentence story. Back to the comment feed. Tell us about losing your virginity, Mr. Space Marine. came across a thing? One moment. I met this girl on what I would assume would be plenty of fish, and we went on a walk. Wait, that's not what it says. We went on an walk and came across a thing. Maybe it's a cat. It's small and black. Today is International Black Cat Appreciation Day. I didn't realize there was an International Black Cat Appreciation Day. But Father's Day is under attack. Yep. So anyway, I am a cat lover, and I love to run. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about cats again. I really love cats. I'm talking about cats again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I think about how many don't have a home, and how I should have them. I think about how cute they are, and their ears, and their whiskers, and their nose. I will love them. I will hug them. I will have them in a basket, and with little bow ties. I will love them, and I will hug them, and want them to be on a rainbow, and on my bed all the time. All the time. But you can't hug every cat. You can't hug every cat. So now back to the question that I was being asked, before I was told to tell a story which apparently went nowhere. At least for now. Interesting. I did not know that I could do that. But the question was, or it wasn't really a question, but more of a request, to tell you about how I had lost my virginity. I, Mr. Space Mode. Boom chicka, boom chicka. If you know what I mean. Apparently the cat was some kind of demon. I did not lose my virginity to a cat. I'm kind of mixing the stories now. It's kind of become two different requests, bouncing back off of each other. It jumps on Mr. Space Guy. I'm not certain who Mr. Space Guy is. Are you talking about some other Mr. Space person who you are seeing? I'm not sure if I'm quite a fan of this. And bites him. Why am I being bitten by a demon cat? Is this the origin of how I met Dozer? I don't even remember that myself. For it's not been told or shown on screen, so technically the history behind that hasn't been established in the continuity of the show. So it could be whatever we would want it to be, as long as we do a somewhat Wayne's World-esque type of flashback. We could do the Scooby-Doo ending. I have just returned from the Scooby-Doo ending. It turned out that once we had taken off the mask, it was actually the Emperor of Mankind the whole time. It was total heresy, and I shot Hanna-Barbera. Within the next few minutes, there will be a short recess and intermission. The live stream will be put on a brief pause during that time. Feel free to wait. The comment feed should still be up. I'm going to be pulling up the feed once again. But back to the other story, which I have been requested to talk about. Mr. Space Marine losing his virginity. Well, you see, when I had become a Space Marine, they had to open me up. And inside of those openings, they needed to put a lot of things in there. There was a lot crammed in. It was strange, because it seemed like all the stuff going in there would not fit. It all seemed so big. It was all so big. Very intimidating. Once it had all fit inside me, then I was a Space Marine. And that is how Space Marines are made. They are opened, penetrated, have stuff put inside them, and then they're given some change to bus home. Kind of like shake weight. Space Marines are the shake weight of the 41st millennium. The bite turns Mr. Space Dark and Evil. Or is that his name? Mr. Space Dark and Evil. Is this the origins of Dr. Evil? Does he then get a doctorate? Change his name and shorten it to become a little bit more easy to pronounce. And then that's how he met Austin Powers. I bet that's how it happened. That is an interesting story. If only Austin Powers were here to be able to corroborate. Or collaborate. It is at this point, as we reach the 1 hour mark, well, more like 56 minutes and 30 seconds, but close enough, that I am now going to pause the feed. The stream will be put momentarily into a intermission. During that intermission, I will be recharging my power. I will return to you. The show will go on. It will continue. It must continue. If it doesn't continue, the future of humanity is at stake. That is why I have returned here to you now, at the turn of the tide. I'm Mr. Space Marine, and I'm taking a break. Alright, Jim. You're going to be... I don't think that he was ready for the show. Jim. Jim will be momentarily watching over the feed. Please give him the same respect that you would give me. Actually, no. You should treat him a lot better than you've been treating me. Because if you treat him the same way that you've been treating me, well, that's not going to be good. Jim, watch over the show for a moment. I'm back, bitches. And it appears that we have a new person on the show. We have Dozer. Dozer, say hello to your fans. You're the reason that they watch this show. They've all come here for you. Dozer, you are a good cat. And a pretty cat. You are a soft cat. And a warm cat. What an adorable fuzzy kitty. Named after Dozer blades. Probably appropriate, considering when you take her claws into context. This is the show now. The show now is just me petting a cat. Apparently that's what people want to see. They want to see a person in a Space Marine helmet, wearing dress clothes, petting a cat. This is Warhammer 40,000 at its finest. In the grim darkness of the far future, there are only kittens. Adorable fuzzy kittens. Give them some scratches there, some scratches there, power scratches. I can't forget these. These are important to the continuity. Because that's how Mr. Space Marine rolls. So now that it is the two of us, just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Mr. Space Marine and his trusty sidekick Dozer. So now I will return to bringing the feed back up on my phone Auspex. I will get to your comment in a moment. It's true. I love Dozer More than I care about you, shit, I'm missing it. Righty then. Well, anyway, the show is back on. The momentary break has ended, and I have returned. But I'm not Prince Vegeta. Unlike in the last video, where apparently I was becoming Prince Vegeta. That's not going to happen again. You know, the downside to being a Space Marine is, right now my nose is really, really itchy, and I can't really get to it. It's in my helmet. And I could do this, but it's not quite as satisfying as I would hope it would be. It's not quite the scratch that I need to itch. Because the scratch that I need to itch is inside my helmet. And in the internal struggle of wearing this helmet while having a nose. Maybe if I stick my fingers up here. Oh, no, that's not going to work. That's definitely not going to work. Dozer, where do you think the show should go from here? What is that, Dozer? What are you trying to tell me? I'm not quite sure what happened just there, but there was some sort of technical error. The feed is still running. So, Dozer, what would you like to do in the show today? You just want to sleep? Would you sleep for the Emperor? For the Emperor. For the Emperor. For the Emperor. It appears that we have more comments. Do I want to fold your laundry for you? Bitch, please. Do I look like your waiter? This isn't a restaurant. Do I look like your slave? This isn't the Confederacy. Do I look like your butler? This isn't Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I'm not Jeffrey. Dozer, would you like to fold the laundry? You just want the lovin's. Space Marine lovin'. For we Space Marines are steel and doom, the Emperor's mailed fist. And we also give cats the best scratches behind the ears. Way better than the Eldar. What other questions are there to ask? I suppose I will interject my own questions into the show. Mr. Space Marine, why are you so handsome? Well, I'm glad you asked, Mr. Space Marine. I am so handsome because sun never touches my face. There is never a wrinkle on it. not a wrinkle on my entire body. Not one wrinkle. And because of that, I'm like totally sexy. Also because I got a beak helmet. Come on. Corvus, totally, Mark 6. It's not only badass, but it's sleek and sexy. As I drive, the wind rolling through my helmet, with Dozer at my side, my sidekick. Faithful and true, always there. Why don't I ask you something? I'm not quite sure what the host of this show is supposed to ask the audience, but I suppose I could give it a whirl. Hello, audience. I'm Mr. Spaceman, and I just pulled the headset. I am here on this show to answer your questions, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go with my fist through your stomach, because I'm a spaceman. And remember, fist, stomach. It's pretty simple. It's very simple math. Fist plus stomach equals Space Marine. As a Space Marine deity, it is my job to always have a halo of light surrounding the back of my head. That way, I appear like a classic deity being, known in mythology. It is a symbol of enlightenment and of the Illuminati. And before anyone says it, my helmet does not look like a Pizza Hotline box. It's totally different. Totally different than a Pizza Hotline box. Apparently the audience wants to win a date with Mr. Space Marine. What do you think, Mr. Space Marine? I think that that's somewhat impossible, for I am a pewter model. Although, I may be small. I've got it where it counts. Whoa, Mr. Space Marine, that's totally not appropriate for this show. What do you mean, there's not been any sort of censors on it? Because there could be anybody out there. All sorts of people watching. Who knows who could be watching? It doesn't matter. Because I've got it where it counts, kid. Apparently Mr. Space Marine has been asked to leave the show. Not me, mini Mr. Space Marine. He is now going to be retiring. And never returning. Isn't that right, mini Space Marine? But back to the feed. The problem that I would have with going on a date would be it's very difficult to get food in. If I were to try to drink, I would probably run into difficulty. I don't think that would work. Maybe No, I've already tried. That won't work. Maybe I can put it through my eye. That probably isn't a good idea. What other type of dates are there? Going to movies. Playing mini-golf. Genocide of a small country. All three of those would probably be very difficult. At this point, you have reached an hour and 40 minutes, likely due to the long intermission that had occurred at the 60-minute mark. I will paint the city red. Then I will find a red door, and I will want it painted black. Once the city is black, I will go on the Black Parade. Dozer, I need your advice. Your invaluable advice. Where should we go from here with the show? Perhaps if I pet you. Would you like to stand up? Will the real Dozer please stand up? That's you. Your name is Dozer. For the purposes of the show. Dozer. Dozer. Your name is Dozer right now. You must react to your name being Dozer. That's kind of how this needs to work. You're not making this easy for me, Dozer. Dozer. Would you like cookies? Does Dozer want cookies? Cookies? Well, that was Dozer, everybody. Seems that it's pretty easy to bribe her into things. With cookies. Cat cookies. What do we have here? The cat looks bored. Well, of course she is bored. She's not being asked any questions. Dozer. Are you watching yourself on the live stream, Dozer? It's okay. That's not another cat. That's you. And that's me. That's also the audience. The internet. Millions and millions of people on the internet. But only about 3 of them watching us right now. So that's not very many. Where are you? Where are you? I can see you through the internet. I have the power to do so. I, Mr. Space Marine, alone, using movie announcer trailer voices, can see you this summer at a YouTube channel near you. One man will go on an adventure of an Astarte lifetime. Apparently it is my job in life, my role, my decision, my destiny, my designation. None of those things actually connected together rationally or logically. But that's fine. For if I must do my job right, then I will do the one thing that no Space Marine has ever done before. I will ask a question. My question is this, to the live stream chat feed. If you can answer this question, what is a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet? I will await your responses, and then I will tell you the answer. Once again, the question is, what is a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet? Ah, yes. I believe that this space is empty has the correct answer. A pirate's true love is the sea. Hello, I'm Mr. Space Marine, and if you are just joining me, this is my new live stream series, Ask Mr. Space Marine Anything. At the end of this episode, when it is finished, I will suggest all people who watch it to leave comments. Those comments will be answered in the next episode of Ask Mr. Space Marine Anything. So if you leave your comments after the video has finished, those comments will be read in the next video. Deciding on a day of the week and time of the day for a proper live stream schedule may be difficult. Previously, Dozer, why are you speaking up now? You were being so quiet before. What time did you think we should do the live stream? Do you think we should do them on Thursdays? How about Fridays? TGI Fridays? Saturdays? Sundays? Mondays? Mr. Space Mondays? Well, it seems that Dozer has left the building. once we have reached the 2-hour mark, I will be closing the feed for this episode. There is only 8 minutes. There is less than 8 minutes of this live stream episode left. If you wish to have your questions answered in this episode, write your comments in the feed now. If you would want to have your comments read in the next episode, write your comments after the video has closed. All questions will be addressed and will be answered. No question will be ignored or bounced, no matter the question's topic, subject, maturity level, serious level, uncomfortability level, power level, or a scale level with the little liquid bars with the air bubble. You know what I'm talking about. You know those levels. This space is empty writes, how do I fall to chaos, and is it worth it? I will answer your question. The answer to your question of how do you fall to chaos is you don't. And is it worth it? Ask that yourself, punk. Is it worth it? Is it worth it, punk? You feeling lucky? Well, roll the dice. Because I would hit on a 3+, and my bolter would have an excellent armor-piercing value and a very good strength. So I believe that I have the advantage. So once again, your question of how do you fall to chaos and is it worth it? Even asking that question deserves the Emperor's mercy. You cannot see the disdain on my face, but you can imagine it. You are a heretic and a traitor. I am the light. I am the Emperor's mailed fist. No, it is not worth it. And you will not join chaos. I will stop you. The next question is, once again by this space is empty. What is the power level Dragon Ball Z style of Farsight? Farsight. Would that be the sniper rifle from Perfect Dark that could shoot through walls and had the tracking feature? I wish I had one of those right now. Set it to automatic track. Go through a wall. You want to join chaos, do ya? Oh, we'll see about that. Mr. Space Marine knows best. Madison writes, I think you promised you'd dance again. Well, crap, you're right. And there is 2.5 minutes left of the show. So, for the remaining 2.5 minutes, it will be a dance. And at this moment in the feed, there is only one thing that I can do to close off the show properly. And on that note, I will now end the show. I've been Mr. Space Marine, your host. Good night.